folks, and welcome back right here to Revv Evolution. And this is of course our drive from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur. And our plan was originally to actually kind of tell you more information about the car that we're driving, which is the Countryman, along the way. But as you know, with the North-South Highway, there's really a lot of variables, and of course here on Revv, safety is number one, and we don't want to take the chance of anything happening while on the way there, right? So I decided to do the review, or give you a little bit more information about the car that we're driving, which is the MINI Countryman right here in Johor Bahru, which has some really fantastic roads. And from the start of the video, as I said before, this is really not a review of the MINI Countryman, but MINI Countryman EV to be exact, but just giving you a better idea that it is actually quite a pleasant journey to actually drive all the way from Singapore to KL in an EV, and in this case the MINI Countryman. So what we wanted to showcase was not how much range you could squeeze out of the car on a single charge. Once, as I said, what's the fun in doing that? The whole idea is to have a nice drive, and and to get to KL safe first of all, and actually showcase a couple of charging stations that we managed to stop along the way. And to be honest, if you compare this to taking a petrol, an ice basically on a drive all the way from Singapore to KL, if I calculated the cost basically both ways, up and down, I actually spent about, let me see, on the average, right, less than 100 Sing dollars. That's right, less than 100 Sing dollars on the various charges that I actually charged the car with. So if you talk about savings, yes, it is actually quite it is cost saving actually to take an EV up from Singapore to KL. Of course, not including all the tolls along the way. It really did actually save us quite a bit of money driving up to KL. As I said before, it was, I didn't keep the car at a slow speed. I was really testing all the different modes on this car itself, and really having, once again, a really pleasant drive in the MINI Countryman, and enjoying the drive rather than trying to squeeze out as much mileage out of the car. And really, and one thing I have to say about the MINI Countryman, that it really does well in city driving. I put it in eco mode while I was in the city because I didn't need that much speed, and the car really saved me quite a bit of energy while I was stuck in all those jams and everything else. So in a nutshell, what I personally think is, if you're planning on going to EV, but that also caused a lot of not a lot, but a couple of teething problems that I faced while I was in KL, which is not all a bit of roses driving up to KL. But one thing that I really had a challenge with was because I was using my phone line, which was Simba, right, and a lot of these charging stations were actually underground. So I had problems with connections, getting connected to the network, starting the chargers and stuff like that. But lucky one of the guys had a Singtel phone, all right, so I managed to actually connect. So one thing that you have to be aware of is have a very good phone line, because a lot of these charging stations, not a lot, but quite a number of the charging stations that I came across were actually underground, and they had such sucky networks that it just had so much problems connecting it, connecting to connecting and getting the chargers started. But as I said, once again, if you're talking about chargers, if you're planning on bringing your car up to Malaysia, really the important apps that you want to have on your phone is Jom Charge, okay, Park Easy, and Charge EV, an EV plug, and Charge EV. I'll kind of give you an idea about all those charging apps, because they are the ones that you're going to use the most while you are in KL, and it's really easy. But of course, make sure your wallet and your credit card details are all in there as well, so it's going to make the drive that much easier. So now back to the MINI Countryman. I'm just going to give you some information about the car itself, because at the beginning of the video we actually gave you some visuals about giving you details about the interior and exterior, which I really want to kind of give you guys about. So I think with the MINI Countryman, SE all four, as it says all four, which means actually all four is basically a four-wheel drive car. And what I love about is really the MINI operating system, which happens to be the 9, which is basically the newest operating system that they have. And it has also have things like your personal assistant. So give you an example, while you're driving, you want to find out certain details, all you need to say is just kind of shout out, "Hey MINI," and the operating system comes alive and kind of entertains you with any requests that you have. Okay, and I think the fact that it doesn't have the instrument panel right there in facing you, so but this huge route information cluster is really good because I really want to be concentrating on the road, and and I think, and with the heads-up display that's available here, it gives me all the information that I need about driving the car, things like your speed, how much of battery I have left in range, and so on and so forth, which is really as much as information you want when you're driving an EV. What I really love about it, in fact, is it has all these different modes, mini modes they call it, okay, and the one thing that I we really wanted to do was shoot a scene at the go-kart facilities that we visited when we were in KL, LYL, but unfortunately the guys were having a competition, would you believe it, and timing was really bad, so they're having a competition, so we really couldn't get any couldn't do anything there. But we kind of visited the one over in Johor Bahru, Revv karting. The guys were also busy as well, so maybe we'll keep that that shoot for the next time, because once again, the Mini is all about the go-kart feeling, which we wanted to showcase as part of the drive. All right, folks, well, I think to wrap up our drive here in Malaysia, first of all, of course, like I said, it's all about safety when you're in Malaysia, especially when you're driving an EV, because it's not about range anxiety. I think it's really about how to manage the range that you have with the car that you're driving, or whether it's a Mini or anything else. Okay, so, and also be aware of all the charging stations. Have a list of charging stations that you want to plan to have stops at, because that's really important. Before you start off your drive, you want to make sure that your drive's all planned out, where you plan to stop. I'll include that in the video as well, the different stops that we did along the way to Kuala Lumpur. And most importantly is all those charging apps that you want to have, because some apps, things like, I thought Shell Recharge would work very well, but unfortunately not, because they have tie-ups with all these different vendors. So in the end, I didn't actually use it. So make sure you have all the proper charging apps when you head on to KL. Other than that, when you're in Kuala Lumpur, really, they have charging stations all over the place. So don't be worried about, oh, where am I going to charge my car? Because a lot of the buildings are actually very EV friendly. They have all these charging stations all over the place, so you can actually drive around KL, knowing that you can always charge your car easily. And a lot of them, quite a number of them, were actually fast chargers, so that kind of helped us save a lot of time, because we didn't have to park the car for a long time and then hang around and do nothing. All right, so I guess that's all the information that we want to give you right here on Revv Evolution. And once again, thank you so much for keeping it with me as I kind of give you all this information about the car. And that wraps up our drive from Singapore to KL and KL to Singapore. Okay, and once again, on behalf of me and the guys here on Revv Evolution, thank you so much. We'll catch you on our very next episode.